Let's delve into the New South Wales election, though. It's coming up in March and it's starting to get pretty heated. The opposition leader, Chris Minns, says Parliament needs to be returned, in particular to pass legislation to help cost of living now. Both parties agree so-called secret rental bidding needs to end, but how would that actually work? They want to stop people securing properties by just asking or offering way above the asked price. I started by asking the Labor leader about exactly how Labor would change that.
Yeah, we'll, with our legislation, stop secret rent bidding, which is distinct from what the government's proposing to deal with what is obviously an arms race when it comes to renting in New South Wales. The proposal we're putting forward wouldn't incentivise someone to turn up to a rental property and offer $100 more, because under our proposal, all other bidders need to be notified if there's been an increased offer made on the property. As a result, you can go in, make your bid. The real estate agent can't offer a range of bids. They have to put a specific price on the weekly rent, and renters will save themselves a lot of time and money and effort and energy, and we think it'll stop a lot of that arms race when it comes to rental bidding.
When you say stop the arms race, though, walking through this situation, you go to a property, you say, yes, I'd like to take it, and you presumably initially start with the actual amount they're asking, and then what happens from there? You're told someone's offered more, or are you told how much more they're offered? What's the actual process?
At the moment, people turn up to a rental property, and in many instances, and in fact I spoke to a young lady earlier this week where in nearly every instance where she went and inspected a property, another bidder came in with a higher offer before they even got an opportunity to put in an application. So the arms race began before a potential applicant even walked through the door. Under our proposal, the real estate agent would have to notify all people that put in an application that there'd been an increased bid. So in a sense, it reverses the process. You're not incentivised to turn up on a Saturday and offer more straight from the get-go, because all other bidders will be notified of that increased price. And as a result, you can put your application in and wait and see whether someone else has come along with an increased bid price.
But still at that point, there's going to be rental bidding, isn't there? Because you'll get told about it, you'll want the property. There's such high demand out there right now. You say you're getting rid of the secret, but rental bidding will go on for a long time given the market at the moment.
Well, obviously that's the marketplace in New South Wales. We've said we'll end the secret rental bidding process, the arms race that currently takes place, because you just won't be incentivised to roll up to a property and offer the real estate agent or the landlord an extra $50 a week before anyone else has even got an opportunity to inspect the property. But you're right, Tom, this is not going to solve in global the housing shortage and rental crisis that we have in New South Wales. Rents have gone up 28% in the last 12 months, and it's part of the reason why we've also suggested a portable bond scheme, a rental commissioner, and lastly, but I think most importantly, a question around supply, particularly in relation to infill development closer to the CBD on metro lines, where we're seeing not a great increase in the number of new entrants into those communities, despite the fact that's where jobs, infrastructure and public transport are located.
Are you willing to go into bat in a big way for sort of high density and changing the face of suburbs to mean people can move in? Is that the answer, or is it about more emphasising what the coalition's been working on, satellite cities, and no longer an obsession with the CBD, which COVID sort of fast-tracked?
Well, in an interesting way, our proposal is for the Committee for Sydney to look at housing targets closer to the city, particularly on metro lines. We believe it's completely out of whack. For example, the Hills district in northwest Sydney has to grow by an additional 100,000 people over the next 15 years. Blacktown, 110,000. Parramatta, 127,000. Camden, 87,000. Whereas closer to the CBD, you're seeing a very, very small increase in the number of new entrants into those suburbs over the next 20 years. For example, Mosman, only 425 additional people in the next 20 years. But Tom, that's where the public transport infrastructure is being built. Now, the government will say, well, those communities are already filled, we can't have any more new entrants. But that's ridiculous. That'd be the same. That would be similar to the Mayor of New York City saying, we're not going to have any more new buildings in Manhattan. This is an iterative process. It is about new buildings. It is about supply in the marketplace. Okay. And that's one of the big levers the state government will have in easing the cost of living and housing crisis we have in Sydney.
Another crisis, energy right now. Gas suppliers are saying the permanent power on capping prices that the federal government has indicated it will legislate will actually reduce investment. Is that a concern? Should we be taking that seriously?
Well, there is a lot of prospective gas projects on the go in Australia at the moment, in New South Wales as well, and I haven't heard from those prospective applicants that they're pulling their application or they're not going ahead with major projects. And at the end of the day, we also have to have a balanced economy. You do need to look at the manufacturing sector. If power prices are projected to increase by 45, 48% in the next 12 months, we know that gas is setting the price, the domestic price for energy in the country at the moment. You'll see many manufacturing businesses go out of business in the next 12 to 18 months, resulting in tens of thousands of jobs being lost. We can't let that situation happen, and I give credit to the New South Wales government to coming to a resolution to try and work through this tricky problem.
What about the threat that's shaping up from gas companies, though? Should it be taken seriously?
Well, I mean, I've only seen their rhetoric in the last 24 hours. The proposal will have to, obviously, we need to see what their next moves are. They've made certain suggestions around new investment in energy production in New South Wales and Australia. I think that this is a balanced process, and I think it's a balanced reform package that involves the state and the Commonwealth. I'm glad that there's a resolution, and the alternative, which is rapid escalation in energy prices, I think will devastate the New South Wales economy and can't be tolerated.
Finally, on pokey reform, you're not supporting the coalition plan so far. You are pushing for a trial. You want to know the impact on the industry. If gambling is reduced significantly, though, through a cashless card of some sort, the industry will shrink. I guess it's just a question of how much. Do you have a metric on that? How much shrinking is too much?
Yeah, we don't. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we want to make sure we've got an evidence-based approach. I'm not saying we can't have and don't and shouldn't have reform in relation to gambling in New South Wales. We want to look at it. Obviously, there's been reports suggesting that change needs to take place. Problem gambling, it should be noted, has doubled over the lifetime of this government. So obviously, we are inheriting a difficult situation. The point I'd make is, because we don't know the impact on the industry and because we know that the industry employs 120,000 people in New South Wales, we need to make sure that their jobs, their livelihoods and the impact of the economy can be measured. So I think a trial makes sense. I don't think that's an unreasonable position to take.
Chris Minns, I'm sure we'll talk to you again in the lead up to the election in March. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.